I feel like I'm being scammed. That is what a client told me yesterday. He's a framing foreman, a guy with calloused hands who literally busts his back building these houses in the valley every single day. From the freezing January inversions to the triple-digit July heat, he makes good money. He has a 740 credit score. He does everything right. He looked at that $3,525 payment on a standard $515,000 house in Meridian. The kind of builder grade home with a postage stamp backyard and vinyl siding that looks like every other house on the block. He just went quiet. He looked me right in the eye and asked, "Rachel, how is this even legal? I'm the one out there framing these walls. I know what the lumber costs. How did a basic roof over a family's head turn into a luxury tax I can't outrun?" I've lived in this valley my entire life. I've raised my 3 boys in the same zip codes, and after looking at the January data for Ada County, I told him he was right. If you buy a house in Idaho the traditional way right now, you are walking into a mathematical trap, and let me explain why. Most people moving here are waiting for the bubble to burst. They're sitting in rentals in Boise or Star, watching their moving boxes gather dust while they refresh Zillow every 10 minutes. They're looking for that one red arrow, the price drop that signals a big crash is finally here. They've been told by the internet that if they just hold out another 6 months, the market will break. But in this valley, the bubble hasn't burst. It's hardened into concrete. Look at these numbers. Inventory is up 23%. Normally, when supply jumps like that, prices should tank. They haven't. They're flat. That is the squeeze. You're being asked to pay 2022 prices, but you're trying to fund that with 2026 rates that have stripped away 40% of your buying power. And here is the part nobody wants to talk about. Most people are still trying to make this work on an Idaho salary that's been stuck since 2019. We call it the sunshine tax. It's the idea that living near the mountains is worth a lower paycheck, but we've hit a breaking point. The beauty of the foothills doesn't make up for a mortgage that eats 60% of your take-home pay. I had a family from California last month who came in thinking they could use 2008 tactics. They found a house in Meridian that had been sitting for 6 weeks. They offered $100,000 under the asking price. They told me, "Rachel, the market is shifting. They have to sell." But here's the reality they didn't see. That seller had $300,000 in equity and a 2.5% interest rate. They weren't in trouble. They were in a golden handcuff situation. For them to sell to you at a discount, their own payment would double. So they didn't even counter. They just let the offer expire. Sellers here aren't blinking because they don't have to. You're betting against a wall of Idaho's stubbornness, and right now the wall is winning. Now let's talk about the other trap, the "I'll just wait for rates to drop" strategy. Let's play out that fantasy. Let's say the Fed slashes rates and the 30-year fixed hits 3.5% tomorrow morning. Do you think you're the only one waiting for that email? There are 4,000 people sitting in apartments off Eagle Road waiting for that exact signal. The second rates drop, those people flood the market. That $515,000 house suddenly has 10 offers by Saturday. the price gets bid up to $550,000 instantly. And the seller credits, that pool of money the seller gives you to help with costs, they vanish. You waited to save money on interest, but you ended up overpaying for the house. You got trampled by the herd. Okay, that's the grit. Now let me tell you why I'm being so blunt. I love this city. I grew up when Boise felt like a secret. I remember the searing heat of the metal slides at Camel's Back Park and the smell of the sugar beet factory on a cold Nampa morning. I've raised my 3 boys here, skipping stones in the Boise River, and I want the next generation to have that same Idaho. But that Idaho only exists if we have neighbors who can actually afford to stay here. I simply won't let you move here blind. Look, I'm a real estate agent. I do make a living when you buy a home. That's how I support my family. But I have zero interest in treating you like a transaction. If you sell a house that makes you miserable, if the sunshine tax leaves you too broke to actually enjoy life, then I failed you. And I failed this community. I want to see you at the grocery store 10 years from now and have you tell me it was the best decision you ever made. I'd honestly rather lose a commission today than watch you become another cautionary tale, packing up a U-Haul and heading back on I-84. So, how do we actually win? We stop acting like amateurs. We stop obsessing over the sticker price and start looking at the math. When I take clients through a deal, I show them that cheaper money is always better than a cheaper house. The amateur fights for a $20,000 price cut. They feel like a genius, but at 6.5% rate, that only saves them about $120 a month. That's one dinner out. It doesn't change your life. The pro, the way I do it, we keep the price at full ask, but we demand a $20,000 seller credit. Think of the home price as just the admission ticket. The interest rate is what it actually costs you to stay in that house every month. We use that credit to buy down the rate. Here's the reality check. Interest is front-loaded. In the first 5 years, almost every penny you pay goes to the bank's profit. By using that $20,000 to drop your rate by a full point, you are saving $400 a month every single month for the life of the loan. Look, I know that's a lot of numbers. If you want the exact math I just showed you on paper, I put together a free rate hack cheat sheet. The link is in the description. Grab it and use it. And stop guessing with your family's future. Next is a liability swap. The reason you think you can't afford the house isn't always the mortgage. Sometimes it's the $800 car payment for a truck that's losing value every time you drive it. I had a client, Mike. He had $50,000 in cash. He wanted to put all of it into the down payment. But Mike was also carrying a high interest truck loan. I connected him with a lender partner who knows how to look at the big picture math, and they showed him a liability swap scenario. Instead of putting the full 10% down, they looked at putting 5% down and using the remaining cash to kill that truck loan. Mike saved $575 a month in real cash flow. That is his grocery budget. We didn't just lower his payment, he and his lender changed the quality of his life. Last thing, do not trust the seller's property disclosure in Idaho. Sellers have developed convenient amnesia. They'll patch a leaky pipe, slap a fresh coat of paint over a stain, and check no on every box. They're terrified of losing their equity. But while the physical evidence is painted over, the digital evidence is permanent. I demand a clue report for every client. It's a digital history of every insurance claim on that house for 7 years. If that house had a $15,000 water claim, your insurance premium will be double what you expected. I've seen deals die 48 hours before closing because the quote came back at $300 a month instead of $100. Now, I need to give you a warning. You are going to hear a lot of people parroting this line: date the rate and marry the house. Let me be very clear. That is a slogan designed to get you to just sign a contract. It is not a strategy to build wealth. It is gambling. What if rates stay high for a decade? If you buy a home assuming you can refinance in 6 months and rates go up instead, you aren't just house poor, you're stuck. Betting your family's solvency on a refinance that hasn't happened yet isn't a plan. It's a speculation. I don't gamble with my clients' futures. If you can't afford it today, do not buy it, hoping for a miracle later. That's how you go broke. So here is the honest answer. For 40% of you, Idaho is a mistake right now. If you're waiting for a miracle, you're going to be waiting a long time. But for the other 60%, the people willing to downshift, it's still a paradise. Here is your roadmap. Number 1, stop looking at the sticker price. Number 2, look at your total monthly outflow. And 3, audit your debt with a pro. And number 4, demand the clue report. Look, I've just given you the math. The rest is up to you. If you want to keep this all straight, grab that free rate hack cheat sheet. It's linked below. Stop guessing with your future. I want you as a neighbor for 20 years and not 2. If you're thinking about making an offer sight unseen, do me a favor, stop. You need to watch my 2026 warning video, Stop Moving to Boise Until You Watch This. You need to know exactly what you're walking into. I'm Rachael, helping you live your best life in Idaho, and I'll see you in the next one.